Hey guys, in this video we've got something small, but it's very cool in my opinion. I haven't actually got it out of the box to have a look at it, so we'll unbox it at the same time. But this is the Mini JRx2 from Losi, and it is 16th scale. It's not very big, and we got that color. Shows it right on the box. So we got the red one, and this one should be pretty slick. It's a two-wheel drive buggy, and it is reminiscent of our days racing back in the day when we were running our Losi JRx2s, and we had the Kinwald edition, which is pretty cool, and it's fast, light, and controlled very well. This one being small, I'm not expecting it to have the same speed and all that stuff, but it's Losi. It should handle really well. So today we're gonna get this thing out of the box, and keep in mind, this was under $200 complete. There's nothing to buy. It's got the radio and the batteries and everything, so we should be able to plug it in, charge it up, and go right out and test it. In this video, we're gonna get it out of the box. We're gonna see what you get for your money. Then we're gonna take it out and test it, and we'll test it accordingly because of its scale. Then we'll bring it back in and ask 3 of our 4 questions. Is it fun? Is it durable? And is it worth the money? I have a really good feeling about this one, guys. It's gonna be cool. Check this out. Okay, so let's get this thing out of the box. I knew it was going to be tiny. It is too. Oh, nice. Okay. You got to have a look at this. Okay, gonna have a little snipping. There's the radio. That's the smallest spectrum I've seen. And we've got a couple under here. There we go. That's pretty cool. It's got an interesting suspension in the back. But before we dig into the car, let's make sure and go over everything that came in the box. Okay, so let's start with the radio, and this is the SLT2, which is the little brother to the SLT3, which comes with a lot of the RTR radios. It has a reverser for your steering here. It has your throttle cutout 50, 75, 100%. So if you're handing it to someone new, you can kick the throttle down. It does have your steering centering here, so you can center up your steering so it drives straight. And it looks to have a steering rate, so you can control how far the wheels turn. Other than that, there's nothing else to it. The spring on the wheel feels pretty good. The spring on the trigger feels pretty good as well. It just feels a little bit tight for my hand, but I think I can run this one okay. So looking at the bottom here, we've got an area for the batteries down below, and of course the on-off switch. Here we go. The on-off switch is right there. So that is the radio. In the packet, let's have a look at the packet here. And in true Losi fashion, you get batteries for the radio. So that's pretty cool that they ship with that. have a look at the manual here. And the manual should cover everything from the radio to how to get the batteries in the car. But I did leaf through this really quickly, and I'm not seeing an explode for the vehicle anywhere. So it doesn't seem to have an explode, which means it's going to be a little tougher to find part numbers because the explode doesn't appear to be in here. So that might be a bit of an issue to find part numbers for broken things within the car. So we'll have to see what we can find online for that. It looks like they do have a QR code here, which might actually take you to a link for that. So that's what comes in the kit, the box and everything, charger, the battery's already in the car, and there you go. Okay, so let's have a look down inside this, and I've pulled the body clips, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them to get the body off. Here we go. And we'll get a good look at what's inside the car here. So it does come with a 650 milliamp hour battery. It has a Pro Choice motor in the back, and I'm told that's a pretty good one. It does have a combo here for the ESC and the receiver, so that's a one-piece item for both, and a really small servo there, which is the SX107. So it's got a small servo. Everything seems to be, right for the scale, but what I'm really impressed with is the way the suspension feels. I mean, we're going to do a drop test here and see what that looks like, but it sticks to the ground really nice for the size. That's pretty impressive. One thing this has that the XXX did not have is these links here to keep the arms strong in the back. The older one just had them across here, so from A to B and A to B was all you had there. But now it's got these trailing arm links as well that should help keep things in place really nicely. It does feel really good on the suspension, and I'm impressed with that for its scale. That's pretty neat. As far as the chassis goes, the chassis appears to be plastic, or it might be something a little more rigid. I am unsure of that at this point. We still just got it out of the box. I do like the aluminum shocks. I think that is a nice touch. Losi always does kind of cool stuff like that to make things a little better than they could be. So they make things pretty excellent as far as that goes. It looks to me like the wing here is attached to the body, although it does look like it has, if you look here, it's got tubes here that in the old days you poke the wires for the wing right down through these to hold it up. So that's kind of neat. It's got the retro mounts for the wing on it, although on this particular model they're attached to the body. The body itself is pretty stiff material for its scale. I like that a lot. I'm not really a great fan of red, but that looks pretty good on it. I like the yellow accents that it has on the white wing. I think that's pretty cool as well. So that's what's in the car. All right, so that's the unboxing portion of the video, and it's kind of a cool looking car. We did check in a little deeper, and the chassis is made of fiberglass, and it's kind of thick, so it should hold up pretty well. I don't know how fast the car is yet. That's in the next segment. Really, I am impressed with these components here. They work really well, and it really is reminiscent of the older cars. So there's only one thing left to do, guys. Let's take this little monster out and test it. Check this out. So there you go, guys. That's the running footage for the JRx2 Mini from Losi, and it's a pretty cool little car. I gotta say, it really is, but we found a couple of things that we missed in our opening, and the manual does have the explode in it. So it's at the very back of it behind all the different languages. This is in the very tail end of it. So the explodes are there. Also, what was kind of tucked into the corner of the bag that we didn't see when we first unboxed it is it has the binding loop as well. So these two items got missed at the beginning. I want to make sure that you guys knew they were in there. So the manual is fairly complete, and it does do a pretty good job on that score. Now, let's get down into the car and see exactly what we think of this one. And you know, the charger worked flawlessly. It worked really well. It doesn't take very long to charge. It charged pretty good. Let's get into the radio just for a moment here. Now, the STX2, or is that STX? No, SLT2, it's a small version of the SLT3, and if you guys watch the channel, you know I'm not a great fan of that one. This one has about the same feel to it. It's a little small. If you notice, my fingers have to curl up to run it a little bit. But once I got to playing with it, I kind of forgot I was hanging on to it, and it worked just fine. The range was good on it. We took it quite a ways. I mean, it's a small car, and at some point you have to be able to see what you're driving. So it worked for the distance of the car. If you could see the car, you could control it. So it does work well on that score. Everything functions as advertised. So the radio, although I'm not a fan of the grip and how it feels just for me, I'd say the radio worked admirably. So the radio gets 2 thumbs up on that one. Now, here's the cool thing. This is 16th scale, and this is a buggy. That's very cool. When they first came out with the Mini T, this is the first edition of the Losi Mini T, and of course it has springs and not shocks and all the cool stuff they're putting in the new release. This is the original, and when it came out, this is the trucks that we were racing. This one's big brother. We were actually racing the XXXTs. This came out, had to have one, so I grabbed one. But here's the thing. Here on the channel, we're used to running small stuff. So we do have small stuff as well, and we know how to rate them between small scale and big scale. If you're looking for the speeds and the functionality of the larger cars, these will be a disappointment to you because they don't have nearly the speed, but for scale, they're really good. They don't necessarily have the speed that you might expect, but this one, that one is surprising. For its size, it's really quick, and what I really like about this one is the way it handles. Even out in the dirt, it handles really well. It's very controllable, and the suspension works very well. It's an excellent car as far as that build goes. And what I think about this one is, you know, you get it out in the driveway or you take it out into a dirt lot that's not a bunch of rocks and stuff, just a nice, fairly smooth dirt area. It handles very well for that. So we've got our 3 questions. Is it fun? Is it durable? And is it worth the money? And I already told you that one comes in at under $200, which is, in my opinion, that's pretty cool for what you get here. So let's start off with, is it fun? Well, this little guy is a lot of fun, actually. It depends on what you're into. If you like the retro look of it, this really does remind me of the older cars that we used to race all the time, you know, the RC10s and that type of thing. This looks just about like that, and when you get into the Losi cars, the shaping is just a little bit different from the XXX car, which is the ones I used to race. But it's real close, and it gives you that real retro feel. It's got a really good suspension, even after all the hard bashing that we did to it, and we did more than just race it around. We bashed it as well. Nothing squeaks in the suspension. Everything works good. The motor had plenty of power and speed. The batteries last a good long time, and I still couldn't help it. Guys, I was smiling the whole time. It brought me back to the day, and even though it's small, it was a blast. So, is it fun? I'm going to give this a resounding yes. That car is fun. It depends on how deep in the hobby you are. Let's get right into question 2. Is it durable? Well, it really doesn't go fast enough to break it. I mean, it goes pretty fast, but it's pretty strong material too. And the chassis is fiberglass, which is pretty strong, especially when you weigh as little as that car weighs. Now, if you stuff it directly on a corner, so let's say if you take a car like this, it still just has plastic arms here, and they're pretty durable looking. I mean, they're solid and everything, but if you catch a corner, so say you have something here and you come down and catch a corner, there's a really good chance you're going to break it. But other than that, we cartwheeled, we tumbled, we ran it straight headlong into stuff, and it handled it admirable. Did anything break in the car? No, nothing broke at all. But what we did have a problem with is the slipper clutch. And it's got a plastic spur gear in there, and it's got and against the spur gear, it's got the two plates that go against it, and they're a fiber plate, and then it's just plastic against that. And it worked really good for the first battery, no problems. We weren't running it on any high traction stuff. We were out in the dirt, just having some fun with it, and the slipper came loose. We brought it back in, got it on the bench, took it apart, had a look at it, and it was tightened all the way up, and it still wouldn't grip. So it didn't look like it melted the plastic, it just looked like it needed shims in there. So we did add just a shim in here, which is just a washer that fits right between the plates. So on this differential, or on this slipper back here, there's a plate on each side, and the spur gear goes in the center with those slippers that go in there. I just shimmed that out with, it wasn't a very thick washer, but it fit perfectly around the center spur in there, and so it held it center real nice. It took up maybe a 64th of an inch, maybe, not even that. And it was just enough to get the traction back down on that and hold it together. And after we changed that, it worked perfect. So it did have a problem with the slipper, so that is one thing. Still, as far as durability goes, I'm gonna give this one thumbs up as well, guys, because it's still working, and it's real easy to charge and play with, and nothing has broken, and we treat it the way we would treat any other car. We just kind of scaled it down for size. Question number 3, is it worth the money? Now, yes, it's worth the money. If this is what you're into, you get a complete system. You don't just get the car, you have to buy electronics. You don't just, everything is there, battery and charger included. Charge, battery, pull trigger. It even came with batteries for the transmitter, and that's pretty impressive for under $200. I really like the little retro things that kind of bring you back to the day on, the bigger ones that we used to look for. And I might be looking for a larger version of that just because it was so much fun to play with. So all the way around, this one rates well with us, guys. It's very cool. So hey, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. It's awesome when you do, and it lets us know that you like the content that we're putting out for the channel. RC is a great hobby to be in. There's a little something in it for everybody. If you like boats, helicopters, crawlers, high-speed cars, big cars, little cars, it doesn't matter. If you can find something that makes you smile, turns you on, you've got the right one. That's the important part. We've been doing this channel for a long time, but beyond that, we've been doing this hobby for way longer than this platform has been around. And we're still excited about doing it because the hobby is that much fun. As the cars escalate and get more and more technologically advanced, they become stronger, faster, more exciting to watch run, and that really is what works for us. It doesn't matter what you guys choose. If it's something that turns you on, you're doing it right, and that's the end of it. If you guys have one of these cars and you have anything you'd like to add, please feel free to leave it in the comments down below and help others along the way. Hey guys, I'm AJ with AJ Jam Studios saying, keep bashing, guys.